from Tokyo, Japan. This is the Goddess channel. I haven't shot a video for the Goddess channel in quite a long time, and I don't have my laptop, so I can't do my titling card for this episode, but um, I've been living in Tokyo, Japan for 6 months now, and this is probably going to be my new home. So I've probably relocated to Tokyo for indefinitely for at least a year, if not more. Um, we'll see how it goes. It's been going fabulously so far because my sexual energy is radiating and creating all kinds of abundance and awesome opportunities for me. I am practicing as the goddess here in Tokyo, and the reason why I live here is because my clients seem to be calling me in Tokyo. I know that most of my clients are gaijin, are foreigners, because I don't speak Japanese well enough to fully be able to teach Tantra in Japanese. I am speaking at about the 55% level, so I can do very simple 日本語タントラの教えてことできる。でも、本当に英語だけ、しなければならない。I must do it in English because if people are paying me, then I really want to be able to explain the concepts well. But for my friends, I practice in Japanese, and I practice in bars, and I practice whenever I can because the goal is to be able to teach to Japanese and foreigners in both Japanese and in English because Japanese culture norms really lack touch. There's a lack of personal space because there's 30 million people here in Tokyo, but there's also a lack of intimate connection. So the idea of hugging when you say goodbye, or the idea of getting overly emotional with family members, is something that is not really very Japanese. Um, so you might see it in anime or movies, but in actual life, um, hugging a friend when you say goodbye is just not done. Public displays of affection are really not done. Japanese people get highly embarrassed if you're in a relationship and you want to kiss goodbye at a train station. I hardly ever see that, and if I do see that, it's like super rare. So I wanted to make this video about sexual energy. Sexual energy, I mentioned that in my intro, is creation energy. It's what you're creating your opportunities with. It's also, if you're interested in making babies, it's how you create babies, obviously, because the original procreative purpose of sex is to procreate, is to make offspring. And if you're not making offspring, then what are you creating? You're driven by the most powerful energy in our body, in the universe, which is sexual energy. That's why men wake up with an erection. So, as in their younger years, and then later it kind of wanes down. But you don't want to focus on the physical. You focus on the metaphysical, and that's what Tantra really is really getting the holistic body in touch with the physical body. So, yes, you wake up with an erection when you're in your younger years, and yes, you want to get laid when you're younger, and this goes for, both men and women. And even though I make my living as a Tantra life coach in the US and Japan, I wanted to make this video to emphasize that it doesn't mean that I'm a slut. And it doesn't mean that I'm a whore either, because I spent many years as a whore, as a proud whore. In fact, I have multiple decades of experience in human sexuality in various industries of sexuality. And so I have witnessed a lot of different human sexual behavior, for the good and bad of it all. And so I almost feel like I've always had sexual energy. And children have sexual energy. But this doesn't mean that children need to have sex, right? So sexual energy is your life force energy in the tantric definition of it. Life force energy is what wakes us up in the morning. It is my art. It is my music. It is my style. It is how I teach. It's anything that I'm creating. It's what I'm passionate about. It's the passion in my name. So at this moment, it is the passion. It is the connection. It is how I'm teaching you in this video. It is the breath that I take that keeps me alive. It is not the fact that I want to have sex with you. And in fact, in my sessions, I don't have intercourse with my clients. I run sexual energy with my clients, and the dare, or the challenge, if you will, is that your spiritual assignment is to see that the connection is higher valued than intercourse. And that the intimacy that you lack in your life is why you're even coming to me. Because if there was no difference between all that is offered in the vast flashing lights of the sex industry in Tokyo, especially in Japan, there's so much offered, so many different wild things that you could possibly do, in different ways that physical sexual energy manifests in this great big city. Then you wouldn't feel empty when you spent all that money at the girls' bar, or you wouldn't feel empty when you made it rain on a stripper in America, right? So what is it that is missing? And it is really that connection, and that heart connection, and that love that everybody in Japan and everybody in America wants, desires, and needs. These are these basic things. Everybody in Afghanistan, everybody in China, everybody in Luxembourg, to name just a few random countries that we're all bonded by these very metaphysical elements that are not about nationality, and they're not even about physical fucking or sex. When I was younger, my sexual energy would radiate, and it did have a physical manifestation. I started masturbating when I was 5. But I think that it's hard to know because I was 5, right? What my motivations were. But in growing up in a non-touching, non-intimate family who had trouble communicating intimacy as I grew older, and this becomes a problem even now, communicating with my family. My family is dysfunctional, and so dysfunction means that they're missing a function, and I believe that the function that they're missing is this idea of sharing outward expressions of love and emotion. It's really difficult for them to express what they're feeling. And if you do express even what you feel is positive, like telling my father I love you, makes him uncomfortable, and he doesn't like it, and he won't react positively if I say something like that. He'll laugh it off or something like that. He is not able to receive it. So you might have a family member or a roommate or someone who that is true for. Not everybody's able to receive what you perceive as positive love, right? So we have to build boundaries and pick and choose who's able to receive, because we can't cast our pearls before swine, right? So not everybody's going to be my client. Not everybody's going to be my lover. I make love in my tantra sessions, but that doesn't mean I'm having intercourse. So when I was a child, I believe that my masturbation was about manifesting pleasure in a family that virtually didn't see me. So then later, when I was in high school, I was labeled a slut because I was fashionable, because maybe the way that I dressed was challenging to people, and they didn't understand that my style, that because I wore thigh highs or maybe showed some skin, it meant that I wanted to fuck. And it didn't. And it's different for me because that was just my sexual energy, my creativity that was radiating, right? And as a teenager, it was confusing for myself and for others because I would be punished for that, both by my peers in name calling, but also later in life I was the victim of sexual violence from the age of 17 until, throughout my years, right? So I believe that people were really confused. All of my perpetrators were men, so I'm just going to call them out as men. That men were confused about the fact that sexual energy was radiating from me in such a way that it meant a certain thing, and they wanted to have access to that certain thing, but that it wasn't given to them. They got angry. And this happens even now, right? So I'll get emails and people were like, oh, you're so, you seem so open in your videos and you're in the bathtub and you seem so sexy. Will you do a session with me for free? And I'm like, no. Why would I want to do that? I mean, the definition of slut is you like to have sex, right? So you'll talk to someone who identifies proudly as a slut and they're like, I just like to fuck, I like to have sex. I mean, the truth of it is that I tried to discover my sexuality through having intercourse a lot, and I did that through prostitution. And when I was a prostitute, I really wanted to take back power that was taken from me. And I also wanted to explore what it was like to really go deep into having intercourse a lot. But I only did it through the boundaries of getting paid. Those were my boundaries, right? I didn't feel good about having sex for free. And I always, in those years, I said, I'm not a slut, I'm a whore. And now I don't even call myself a whore because I'm not a full service sex worker anymore. I'm a teacher, I'm a tantra teacher, I'm a spiritual sexual facilitator. And I've really gotten to the point in my life where I truly understand sexual energy, and sexual energy no longer controls me, I control it. And I've experimented with this through conscious celibacy. I've experimented with this through being a tantra teacher for now 3.5 years. And I've been able to have energetic orgasms without penetration. I can combine eros, which is passionate love, which is the kind of love that you have with lovers. I do have great sex when I want it, right? I do have intercourse with people. I'm not consciously celibate. Well, I would say maybe I am consciously celibate now, even though it's not so much as a straight line as it was. I did it for 11 months straight during the period of 2016. All of the time almost before I came to Japan, before I turned 40, 11 months total. I did it to really, really understand my body and understand my sexual energy. And it was a great lesson. I learned a lot about myself and my body, and that I was at the point in my life where I was like, I don't need to do anything with anybody. I'm totally content with myself. And if it comes up and I feel a total hell yes, then I'll do it. But if it doesn't, then I won't. And so that's pretty much my stance now. If you're presenting yourself as a god or a goddess and you're treating me as the god goddess that I am, and I feel open, then I feel honored, then my desire is there, my heart opens, my spirit opens, my legs open. And so if you're not coming to me with that, and you're being vulgar and you're reducing me to a certain level that I'm not ready to go with you to, maybe that level is the street level, or maybe that level is the vulgar level that I may only go with you in between the sheets with, right? But initially, you want to approach the goddess as the goddess, and that will open the door to abundance. And so that is just this video's topic, is really about what is sexual energy and how can you control it. And how can you get so close to the goddess and not want to fuck her? How can you take a bath with me and not want to devour me? Because that's the lesson. How do you combine divine love and erotic love? You have to learn what divine love is first. You already know what erotic love is. And you are coming to me because somehow being in pure erotic love is not satisfying to you. And so my role as the goddess, as the facilitator, as the tantra teacher, is to teach you about divine love, to teach you about agape, and combine agape and eros. So this kanji character is I, and I is about divine love. And I didn't know that until I came to Japan. Someone taught me. And there was another kanji character for Eros, which is koi. And I don't have that tattooed on me, but koi is the other character for Eros. When you have a really refined knowledge of both agape and Eros, then you have amazing tantric sex. And many people just have one or the other. And so in my sessions, I teach you to be the master of both. Namaste.